Well, because in the aftermath of the Charlie Kirk's murder, one of the things that when we were forced to confront it, because it was dominating both of our news feeds, so we felt like we had to talk about it a little bit. And I said during that bit of the conversation that it would be interesting to kind of use the Lippman Bernays public relations propaganda model to kind of watch how the stories would form. And sure enough, here we are. What is it? 2-3 weeks later, and 3 weeks later, and there's several different narratives that are now out there trying to gain traction, and you can kind of watch to see who's feeding off of who in that model, like within the podcast, YouTube, space. You can see, this group over here is running with Ukraine did it. It wasn't Tyler Robinson. It was a conspiracy involving Ukraine and some geopolitical thing. And then there's another group that's picked up the story that no, it's Israel, because Charlie Kirk was starting to question, the Christian rights, fealty to Israel given the situation in Gaza. So Israel had him killed. And then somebody else has got, no, it was an inside job. And and all of these stories are floating around, and it'll take, who knows which one will eventually gain traction. Meanwhile, a lot of the progressive left YouTubers and podcasters and that are going, no, we can't whitewash his legacy. We have to point out, all what he really said and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, meanwhile, even those guys are starting to drop it because the news cycle has moved on, right? Yeah, it was 3 weeks ago. We've had all kinds of stuff, ICE raids, court decisions,
it's a lot of stuff, and I also, there's part of me is like I almost feel like we just put too much into that specifically, too much. I don't know, like
too much attention on the Charlie Kirk thing, or just the noise coming out of the machine, so to speak.
The noise coming out of the machine specifically related to Charlie Kirk, I think, because I get it. He was a very popular and somewhat influential in his sphere.
Mm-hmm.
And it was obviously, gun violence is always bad, but it's just like so much stuff happens that
into that. Where, there was all this intense focus on that. Obviously, he's a, popular public figure, right? Controversial, but out there in the public eye, and boom, taken out. But we're less than 300 days into 2025. And the last time I checked, there were over 324 mass shootings.
I think that stat right there, is part of the reason why I almost feel like we're giving too much attention to just this one
person. And the other thing that, it's sort of, are we recording? Should we introduce ourselves?